Surprise is in the air. Some are simply in awe. What happened? How did it happen? Africans are walking with their heads held up high. The new day has come. It is like a dream, but it is so real. The sleeping giant is on her feet. Decades and centuries past have gotten people used to what seemed an unchangeable past, present, and future. The past seemed so ever-present. It had swallowed all the tomorrows that came its way. For some, tomorrow never dies. For Africa, it was tomorrow never comes. Yes, tomorrow never comes in Africa, we all said. We hoped for a tomorrow of dignity, morality, and integrity, a tomorrow of oneness and peace, and a tomorrow of development and prosperity. This tomorrow never comes in Africa. At the very least, the faith of reason believes so. All the promised tomorrows of Africa never came. They have passed like dreams that dreamers will want to arrest and present in the light of day. They always slipped away with great consistency. Tomorrow never comes in Africa. Oh, that is what we thought. That is what everybody thought. What happened? How did it happen? People from all walks of life are asking themselves, beyond the Atlantic, across the Pacific, beneath the Gulf, and around the Indian Ocean, the best brains are searching for answers. Africa's tomorrow has come. The unexpected is here. There is a new African and a new Africa. I see a new Africa. Do you see it? The sleeping giant is on her feet. She is walking majestically with dignity shining forth like the rising sun. Africa marches forward to her destiny. She takes her strides with unstoppable force. Her pride overshadows the Lion King of Masai Mara. The elephants of Serengeti cannot match her force. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa that is basking in the love and blessings of God, the creator of all things. The gods made with human minds and hands are being thrown into the abyss. The African people are committing themselves to the true God, the uncreated creator. Uncreated, yet creator of all things. Invisible, yet knowable. All-powerful, yet friend of the weak. Source of all life, truth, knowledge, and wisdom. The new Africans have become his people, and he has become their God. I see a new Africa where God has put the demons of superstition, deception, and oppression to flight. Their heyday on the beloved continent is over. The new Africans are singing new songs of freedom. Light is dispelling darkness. It is shining on peoples of all races, languages, genders, and ages. The ignorance of the African people is being replaced with enlightenment. Yes, enlightenment with truth. The truth is setting people free. The chains of deception are being broken. The land is filled with people who are pursuing knowledge, seeking all the truth about all of God's creation. God is bringing light where there is darkness, life where there is death, energy to where there is weakness. I see a new Africa, to which God says, "Blessed be Africa, my people." Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa where everybody is somebody. There is neither male nor female, master or mistress, Mr. or Mrs., young or old, black, brown or white, Kikuyu or Yoruba, Mende or Zulu, Egyptian or South African, Congolese or Liberian, Senegalese or Kenyan. There is only Africa and Africans. I see a new Africa where the eyes of children are filled with hope for a better tomorrow. The wailings of mothers in the villages and towns over children who have died far too early from malaria, malnourishment, and other curable diseases have reduced greatly. The street children who had been enslaved to drugs and abandoned to hopelessness have filled the classrooms. They are pursuing education with enviable career and service ambitions. The orphanages that housed children who were victims of HIV/AIDS, war, and other crises have become leadership development institutions that are raising new leaders to take on the challenges and opportunities facing the continent. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new African who wakes up in the morning, looks out the window and sees the beautiful golden rising sun. Another day with its puzzles of questions and answers, its promises of sweat and harvest, and says, "Thank God I am an African." I see a new Africa that is no longer the mockery of nations. The new Africans take their seat at the global round table, adorned with splendor, respect, and royalty. The energetic youth are no longer slaves in foreign lands, standing in long queues, seeking greener pastures elsewhere. The wonderments of what is wrong with Africa have been replaced with the declaration, "The beautiful ones have been born." The spirit of Afro-pessimism has been replaced with the chants of, "Yes, we can." The new Africans are confidently and creatively designing African solutions to Africa's problems. They are no longer expert copiers of foreign ideas. They are not turning to the east or to the west, north or south, seeking affirmation of their ideas. They just know that they can think and make things happen in Africa like anywhere else in the world. The new Africans are thinking and acting like first-class citizens on the planet, second to none. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa where the youth work hard toward their dreams. They are not mastering the art of dribbling their way through life, using their meager resources to buy favor from the powerful. Her sportsmen and women are not understating their ages. They are not enhancing their abilities with illicit drugs. They play by the rules and take pride in exploring the limits of the human spirit, the strength and complexity of the human body. I see a new Africa where rewards are based on achievements, not on tribe or language, village or city, old boy or old girl connections. People take pride in doing well what they do, enjoying the doing, not only the achievements. Fathers know their wives, and mothers know their husbands. Children know their true parents. They no longer say with their lips, "Daddy," and think in their minds, "Oh God, is it him?" I see a new Africa where the loud and silent cries of her young girls and beautiful ladies from being violated have ceased. The visible tears on their faces and the invisible tears in their hearts have all ceased. They walk freely on the streets, day or night, rain or shine. They sing songs of celebration to one another, saying, "God bless Africa, our motherland. Salama, Africa. Uhuru, Africa. Hakuna Matata, Africa." I see a new Africa where the economies are not like the barrels that are being filled with water from the open top, whilst water is gushing out simultaneously through multiple holes being punched on the sides by corrupt leaders. Workers are not collecting additional salaries through ghost names. They are well paid and are content with their income. They go about their businesses with high senses of dedication because they take pride in serving their nations. I see a new Africa where governments are sacrificing short-term gain for long-term development, personal ambitions for the general needs of the people. It is nation first, not party first. Opportunities and rewards are not based on who you know, but on merit. Business people are not exploiting the poor without limits. The military and the police are protecting the people, not exploiting them. The ordinary citizens are not tightening their belts, always punching new holes without any end in sight. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa where everyone thinks, "I am because God is and we are. And since God is and we are, therefore I am." Everyone her brother's keeper, everyone her sister's keeper. Communities are rallying around those with potential for greatness. They are pooling their resources together to help them move to greater heights. The people have proper PhDs, not pull him downs. The strong and the wealthy understand that success is not measured by the abundance of one's possessions. Rather, it is measured by how much value one adds to the lives of others. They are lifting up the weak and the poor, providing hope for them. I see a new Africa where the youth rise up and shout to one another, Pamoja! Together, let's build a new Africa. They are calling out to one another, Harambe! Let us pool our resources together and build a new Africa. The people have locked arms and are marching forward together to the rhythms of Pamoja Africa. Pamoja Africa. The Kikuyu and Luo, Yoruba and Hausa, Ashanti and Ewe, Dinka and Nuer, Christian and Muslim, traditional religionists and Buddhists. There is no longer wailing and crying resulting from people slaughtering one another because of differences in tribal or religious backgrounds. Arm in arm, the Africans are marching forward to victory, shouting, forward ever, backward never. Forward ever, backward never. I see a new Africa where the countries are trading with one another. Products from Africa are developed into secondary products by African nations. One African country produces and another adds value. Products from African nations have ready markets within the continent. I see highways linking major cities on the continent, from Dakar to Mogadishu, Kinshasa to Johannesburg, Bangui to Djibouti, Cape Town to Cairo. The central part of Africa, the heart of the continent, has become a haven of peace and prosperity. It is bringing light and energy to the rest of the continent. Food for East and West, North and South. It is interconnected by first-class road networks and modern airports, from Kinshasa to Bangui, Yaoundé to Bujumbura, Kigali to Brazzaville, Juba to Douala. Central Africa is free and at peace. The Horn of Africa is calm and peaceful. The beaches along the eastern coast are reflecting the warmth of the sun by day and the coolness of the moon by night. There are no pirates. People are going about their daily works in peace. The governments in those countries are promoting democracy, peace, and development. I see one Africa, the United States of Africa. Do you see it? Many nations, one continent, sovereign but interdependent, marching forward, arm in arm, to their common destiny. Africans are traveling across the continent and the globe using their African Union passports. They are able to visit other African nations without requiring visas. I see a strong African Union that is providing the necessary administrative leadership and governance for the continent. African countries, not the European Union, North America, China, or India, provide for the budget. All the resources of Africa are freely available for engaging all her opportunities and challenges. I see an African military high command that is a rapid response force to ensure peace and stability. Nations have come to respect the power of this force for peace. No longer do the United Nations, United States, or Europe need to send forces to protect the African people. The vampires who engineer instability to exploit Africa's vast natural resources have been chased away. I see an effective African Court of Justice that is promoting accountability, transparency, good governance, and justice. No longer do African leaders have to be sent to The Hague for justice. There is an empowered African Parliament that is promoting integration and development. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa where the leaders are servants of the people. They seek to serve, not to be served. They are the voices of the voiceless, the faces of the faceless, the protectors of the weak and the poor. Leaders are not using fear, force, or manipulation as their weapons of control. Leaders are motivating their people by vision, love, and respect. I see a free people uniting in action around the common vision of a God-fearing, free, and prosperous Africa. The young are dreaming with God, filled with hope and poised for action. The youth are racing on foot with horses, taking risks and leading change, liberating the oppressed and bringing freedom to the captive, loving their land and joyfully laboring to make it the envy of other nations. They are leaders of today, not only tomorrow. I see a new Africa where the gifted and resourceful feel safe and empowered to stay in their countries and offer their services. They are no longer fleeing their nations for safety. They are not burying their talents and wealth for fear of being singled out for attacks. The gifted and talented people are exercising original creativity to find breakthrough solutions to the challenges facing the continent. Their achievements bring global recognition and admiration. I see a new Africa where the people tap into the unlimited wisdom and power of God to make the most of the opportunities facing the continent. The achievements of the leaders lead to more respect for the creativity and plans of God. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa where justice is flowing like a rushing stream. The poor have faces and voices. Might is no longer right. Truth and honesty are the bedrock of justice. The nations have free and democratic institutions that promote the well-being of all citizens. Men and women have the freedom to choose their life partners. Young girls are no longer offered in marriage to older men against their will. People have the freedom to choose their leaders. Self-appointed messiahs no longer seize power and declare themselves men or women of the people. Men and women are complementing one another in service and leadership. The youth are free to pursue their careers. An aspiring doctor does not end up studying biology, or an aspiring engineer ending up studying history. Women are free to pursue their dreams. They no longer have to compromise their dignity in order to have access to opportunities that are freely available to their male counterparts. I see a new Africa where workers are paid what they are due. Workers are not treated like volunteers on allowances. The police are not beggars in uniform. Some are not more equal than others. A few privileged people are not swimming in wealth, while the majorities are wallowing in poverty. The people are motivated to work because they know they will receive their due reward. I see a new Africa where the law is king. It is no respecter of persons. The wicked do not walk away scot-free because of their connections. The innocent are not languishing in jail without fair trial. The prisons are not hells on earth. The police are not secret partners with criminals. Democracy is truly a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The electoral systems are independent, fair, and just. The votes of the people represent their consciences and true wishes. The votes are not only counted, but they also count. People do not only have votes, but they also have a say in what governments do. I see a free and democratic Africa where black, white, brown, and yellow live in harmony. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa where the best brains work the hands. Engineers trained from the universities work with machines. Agriculturists trained from the universities are farmers. Carpenters understand geometry. Farmers can spell fertilizer. The engineers and agriculturists are not driven around in air-conditioned vehicles, dressed in suits, spending all their time writing papers about the latest ideas in their fields. They are putting their knowledge to practice, adding knowledge and skills to the works of those farmers and technicians who are not as privileged to have gone through university education. The theoreticians and the practitioners have become partners in promoting productivity on the continent. I see a new Africa where the young graduates are not moving from one office to the other begging for jobs. They are entrepreneurs, creating wealth and jobs for others. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa that grows what she eats and eats what she grows. The people do not eat wheat products for their staple food when the farmers are producing corn. The people have learned the value of enjoying fresh fish from the ocean and lakes instead of canned fish, fresh meat instead of canned meat, fresh vegetables instead of canned vegetables. Africans have understood that their way of eating organic food is healthier than the borrowed lifestyle of depending on processed food. Nations do not sell precious minerals like gold and diamonds only to use the income to buy rice and wheat, food items that their land can produce. The people grow what they eat and eat what they grow. The cotton from the fields is clothing the people. The gold from their land is their currency. The diamonds are their wealth. The oil from the ground has become fuel for good health, good education, prosperity, and peace, not instability, wars, conflicts, and destruction. I see a new and industrializing Africa, where the economies of the nations are no longer based on the sale of raw materials and precious minerals. The nations are developing industries to produce value-added products that are meeting the needs of the people. Nations are no longer exporting precious timber only to turn around to buy furniture from outside the continent. Nations with gold have gold refineries. Nations with diamonds have diamond refineries. There are refined gold, diamond, and copper markets in Africa. People are no longer rushing to New York, Beijing, and London to buy minerals from Africa. The African woman is adorned with the gold, diamonds, and precious stones of the continent. I see a new Africa that is no longer the dumping ground for used or second-hand items from other countries. The streets are not filled with discarded fridges and air conditioners from Europe, the smoke of old cars that have been imported from Asia and Europe. The deafening sounds of generators are reducing. The nations are producing cleaner and quieter energy for their homes and industries. Africa has become a solar-powered continent. I see a green Sahara. I see a new Africa where the brown Sahara is turning green. The dusty earth is giving place to giant trees, fruits, and beautiful flowers. The dry land is becoming a garden of life. Yes, I see a new Africa. Do you see it? I see a new Africa where the roads are not always under construction. They are first-class roads. The hospitals are not graveyards. They are healing centers. The cities are not choking with filth. They are clean and beautiful and life-enhancing. The schools are not housed in dilapidated structures. They are quality centers of learning. The universities produce people with world-class intelligence, creativity, and productivity. I see the new Africans who think and act first class. They live by the slogan, "Only the best is good enough for Africa." Africa's tomorrow has come, and it never dies. I see a new African. Do you see her? Do you see him? The new Africans know who they want to become and what they want to have. They know that who they want to become should be the moral foundation for what they want to have. I see the new Africans seeking to be characterized by God-centeredness, respect for human life, positive self-identity, personal and public integrity, sense of community, empowering leadership, freedom and justice, productivity and dignity of labor, maximization of resources, and above all, excellence in all things. Their sons and daughters sit together at the global table as responsible, productive, and respected leaders. Africa's tomorrow has come, and it never dies. O sons and daughters of Africa, created by God and blessed by God, let us make Africa like the tree of life. Arise, Africans. Arise in the motherland. Arise in the Americas. Arise in Europe. Arise in Asia and the Pacific. Africans in Africa and the diaspora. Arise, Africa, a blessing to the nations. Arise, for the glory of God has risen upon you.